ironic then that some of those leaders and some of the people that are affiliated to this movement that you speak about, so lovingly, sometimes find themselves being in opposition to the ideals of the Constitution, oftentimes wanting to evade being held accountable. There's an irony there, especially because they too profess to love this country, to love its Constitution, to love its laws.
Okay, now I'm thinking, what can I say? What should I say? I'm a judge. I was a judge, I'm still a judge. But even a judge can be a human being. And I'm going to remember a moment that for me was very, very poignant and special. I'd just got an honorary degree at the new university in Lisbon, and it was late afternoon. They treat you very nicely. I had to give a lecture in Portuguese, which wasn't easy, but people flatter you. So I'm feeling a kind of a glow. And I switch on the TV and there's news from South Africa. President Jacob Zuma is going to make an announcement on the TV. I'd known Jacob Zuma when he was my chief representative in Mozambique, in Maputo, for many, many years. Every December 16th we would go to the Langeni cemetery, clean the graves, sing revolutionary songs, freedom songs, to honor our comrades who'd been killed in Matola, Ruth First blown up by a bomb. And he would lead the singing, and very, very beautiful. And I admired him very much. He was a good leader. I admired him very much. And now he's speaking, and he's saying, I did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. And I'm going to resign forthwith. And I had two totally conflicting emotions, totally conflicting. Part, joy, the Constitution is working. The Constitution says that the President is answerable to Parliament. And if he loses the support of the majority in Parliament, he has to step down, and he realizes that. I'm elated. The Constitution is working. Part, deep sorrow. Deep sorrow. I'd known him as a brave, thoughtful person, lovely laughter, beautiful singing voice. But it had come to that. So I'm not going to comment on his conduct. The court commented on his conduct in the Nkandla case. That was a legal kind of an issue. Just to say that our Constitution then has been holding firm to the values that those who fought for freedom imparted into the Constitution. And remember, the Constitution was made in Parliament by 490 people, overwhelmingly black. People, majority, had been in prison, they'd been in exile, they'd been in the underground. It wasn't Europeans who made it, it was our people, onze mense. O povo, as they say in Portuguese. Who made that document. So I can understand people who've been held to account under the Constitution. Some of them acknowledge they did wrong. Some of them say that's history, that's hard. And some of them say, no, it's not me, it's the Constitution that's messing us up. Or the Constitutional Court. And they attack the court or the Constitution. It's understandable from a psychological point of view why they should attack the Constitution. But for me, as a former freedom fighter, as somebody who helped with the writing of the Constitution, and as a judge, I am so proud of the Constitution that we have, that it stood so firm, that we have elections that are meaningful, that people can speak their minds, that you can ask me hard questions, that I can encourage you to ask me hard questions. I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud of our Constitutional Court that didn't just lie down, say, oh, we have no jurisdiction, this is a party political matter, it's got to be solved elsewhere. When it came to issues of institutions established under the Constitution, defiance of those issues, the Constitutional Court spoke.
Do you think that, and this is a view and a notion that has been expressed by some, that our courts have become this political ring where they are abused by politicians, many of whom are affiliated to the ANC? Do you think that's what it's come to, that the courts are now being really used and abused and forced to enter the political terrain?
No, I think that's a very ill-directed question. The Constitution requires the courts to step in when constitutional rights and procedures are being trampled upon or violated. The Constitution requires that when people feel they're being denied their rights, they can go to court and challenge. And everybody, up to the president, everybody has to be answerable in that way. I think a fairer question is, does it involve the courts in too many issues that should rather be settled in Parliament, through the vote, in public debates, getting the judges to get... It's not so much manipulation by any particular grouping or party. It's more a question of... It's called lawfare. Your first resort when you have a problem is not to debate the issue, get people on your side, win it in public debate, run to court. And people do run to court, that's what they're there for, but also because they trust the courts. The other whole issue is, do some people who are being held to account use what's called Stalingrad tactics? Now, I'm old enough to remember the Battle of Stalingrad. I was a little child then, and it was huge. It was the turning point of World War II. And we learnt about the Russians fought street corner by street corner, house by house. The idea was to suck the Nazi army into Stalingrad. They sent in more and more reinforcement, bigger group, and cut them off. So that required heroic sacrifices by the people living in Stalingrad. Delay, 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 delay. So that term is being used now by people using the courts, using the rule of law, to prolong issues and not face the consequences of what they've done. But I would rather have myself abused through overextended use of the courts than have no rights at all.